Thank you, Astrid. Thank you, friends. And welcome to Dublin. What a magical city in which to meet. Dublin welcomed us last night with what the Irish novelist James Joyce described in his book Dubliners: a mild, warm air, a memory of summer, circulated in streets which swarmed with a gaily coloured crowd. Like illuminated pearls, the lamps shone from the summits of their tall poles on the living texture below, which sent up into the warm grey air an unchanging, unceasing murmur. Well, it's that warm evening murmur for which it's such a pleasure to be here, Michal, with you and your party. We thank our friends in Fianna Fáil. We thank all of our generous sponsors for making this conference possible. And it's an honour to share a platform with Michal Martin, the party's leader and former senior government minister. Michal is modernising a party with deep roots, distilling its radicalism in pursuit of freedom into a potent new brew as the next government of this republic. Friends, we are proud to have with us at this conference Deputy Prime Ministers like Nick Clegg of the UK, Vice Presidents of the European Commission, other European Commissioners, other government ministers, to say nothing of the many mayors and holders of elected office. And I salute them all for making the time to be with us. They testify to today's entrenchment of liberals in Europe. And I pay special tribute to our Vice President, Dick Roche. Dick has worked so hard and with such characteristic ubiquity to make this conference happen. Our main Congress theme is making the switch from fossil fuels to green energy. And I'm grateful to Chris Huhne of the UK Liberal Democrats for bringing his experience as former Secretary of State for Energy and Climate Change to our discussions on this important matter. I must say that when I proposed this theme on my election last year, I heard some mutterings among our members. Surely that's more a matter for the Green Party, they said. Well, let me assure you that I am a liberal first and foremost, an environmentalist too, but with my concerns deriving from my liberalism. And perhaps it's taken some liberals a while to wake up to the business benefits and to the issues of security of supply, which make the green energy switch so important. But just yesterday, at a Desertec conference in Berlin, I was together with prominent German liberals, Cornelia Pieper and Birgit Homburger, who stressed how liberals must be pioneers in the self-sufficiency and the business opportunity that the technological advance of renewable energy brings. They drew attention to the dangers of our deep dependence on Russian oil and gas. And liberals too must make sure that markets work. If the distribution of oil and gas is so superior to that of electricity, there can be no fair competition between fossil and non-fossil fuels. Adam Smith would have acted to level the playing field, and so must his successors. Low-carbon energy has the advantage of helping to save our planet. But developing it is not only about saving the planet, it makes good business sense, good economic sense, and good security sense. And friends, this conference must also prepare our party for the European Parliament elections in 18 months' time. And this is a matter for us all, not just for those from EU member states. For the union that we build today is the union that our neighbours will join tomorrow. When you elected me to lead our party last year, I promised you I would try to make our party stronger, smarter, and more genuinely supranational. Well, together with your bureau and your international officers, we've spent the last year doing just that. And so we are proposing to our Council and to this Congress 3 things. To change the name of our party from ELDR to ALDE, from the European Liberal Democrat and Reform Party to the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats for Europe Party. We must put an end to the confusion of names and make just one party from our powerful partnership in the European Parliament and the Council of Europe and the Committee of the Regions. We propose to adopt at our next Congress a policy platform of a short, bullet-point manifesto to be integrated into national election platforms. And we propose to have an exchange of views about whether to adopt candidates for the top EU positions, and if so, how and when. And friends, all of this is making our party bigger and stronger. That's what it's about. The role of the party, and my role as president, is to bring Liberals together so that we proceed in concert, expand our appeal, increase our influence. But since I know that there are still some questions and maybe some doubts, let me say a word or two about where our proposals might lead and where they will not lead. The ALDE project has been a libation to liberalism in the European Parliament and other instances. Our alliance with our democratic friends has been one of 2 rivers flowing together, like the blue and the white Nile, into a stronger current, capable of fertilizing more, advancing together towards a common delta. And this current may take us further still. There are some on the center-right who are ill at ease with the EPP's embrace of Berlusconi and Băsescu and Borisov, with their ovation for Orban and their support for Saakashvili. There are some on the left simply not convinced by the party of European socialists, like Mayor Jankovic in Slovenia or Janusz Palakot in Poland. And there may even be 1 or 2 pirates seeking alternatives to anarchy. And for all these, a wider ALDE offers a welcome in a liberal home proudly painted in our colors of blue and yellow. But friends, I have no intention of smudging the blue and the yellow into any color they might produce. As I said earlier, I am a liberal first and an environmentalist second. And I have no intention of forcing the pace of a 2014 election campaign, which needs careful thought and reflection. You know, a former president of the Liberal International, Lord Alderdice, an Irishman, once said that liberalism is like a house, constantly lived in down the centuries, expanded, embellished, sometimes restructured, but always more beautiful and more complete, built on strong and ancient liberal foundations. Well, we are providing an extension to our home, but make no mistake, as long as I lead this party, our liberal home will remain a home built on liberal foundations. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with greens. My mother used to tell me to eat them, but the place to keep them is outside in the vegetable yard. Friends, nobody denies that these are difficult times for liberalism. Some hold that liberalism is always rejected at times of economic recession. But that is not everywhere the case. In Estonia, our Reform Party runs the show. In the Netherlands, we've just won an historic victory, with both our parties improving their position. In Denmark, we are the intellectual powerhouse of the government and the opposition. In France, we have a new liberal force, the Union pour une démocratie indépendante. Et je suis très heureux que nous avons parmi nous ici des amis français et françaises. Bienvenue. In Georgia, we have swept aside Saakashvili. In Lithuania, last week, our traditional liberals and our new Darbo Party friends both improved their positions. In Germany and the United Kingdom, we are fighting hard against the odds, but we are in government nonetheless, driving the liberal reforms those countries need. No objective commentator can write off European liberals. We are here to stay. And when I look, friends, at the cornucopia of ideas contained in the motions for debate at this conference, I am struck by the salience of our deliberations on how to overcome our economic troubles, on how to secure not just traditional rights, but digital freedoms too, on the arms trade, on nuclear weapons, on freedoms in Syria and Turkey. And yes, there's even a motion on transport. Where would a liberal conference be without a motion on transport? Friends, at this Congress, we welcome new parties from the Czech Republic, from Georgia, and from Slovenia. Our strength continues to grow. Some of our members, as ever was the case, are more right-wing liberals, some are more left-wing liberals. We have different approaches, but we share a common goal: to build at national and European level a more liberal society. And in these difficult times, we will need all our resources of economic liberalism and social liberalism. Wow. I ran out of spittle on the end of my tongue. Economic liberalism and social liberalism needed to repair Europe's economy. We will not give up on the need for countries to sort out their own public finances, but nor can we ignore recent events. Otto Graf Lambsdorff, that great German liberal, in a letter to the Slovenian presidency of the European Union just before the financial market crash, wrote, "Free markets cannot ignore social morals." Adam Smith wrote The Theory of Moral Sentiments, and Max Weber connected hard work and moral values to the advance of capitalism. Decent capitalism, respecting the dignity of man, needs effective public policy. Profit-seeking, he wrote, is the essence of a market economy. But when everything is for sale, social cohesion melts and the system breaks down. The Swedish liberal Johan Norberg echoes that thinking in his book, Can Capitalism Survive? And it is summed up in the words of the poet Oliver Goldsmith. Ill fares the land, to hastening ills a prey, where wealth accumulates and men decay. Friends, we must not reduce our citizens to being merely consumers. We must not abandon what we used to call the common good. We must improve economic vitality and social health at the same time, reconciling flexibility and fairness. And you will not often hear from me a call to arms, but I believe a call is needed to arms of a different kind. We have dangerously high numbers of young people without a job. We are wasting talent. We are abandoning a work ethic. We are condemning young lives to idleness. We need to mobilize our young people, not in the military service of the past, but in a European civil service, practicable anywhere in the European Union or beyond, doing socially useful tasks. And though this program must be Europe-wide, its organization is an area for the member states. Because the idea that member states are obsolete does not match with the day-to-day reality of European business. You know, some look at the European Union's problems and they call for less member state and more Europe. Well, often they have a point, but I want a more liberal member state and a more liberal Europe. I am a liberal first, and my Europeanism derives from my liberalism. I do not want a united Europe at any cost. And so, friends, in welcoming you to Dublin for this Congress, my appeal to you is threefold. Help us make the green energy switch, but for good liberal reasons. Help us make our party stronger, smarter, more supranational, to advance liberal reason. Help us build stronger government and stronger societies at local, national, and European level, but for reasons of liberal freedoms, first, foremost, and for good.